What role should vocational training centers, polytechnics, and universities play in supporting a machine tool economy? The role of vocational training centers, polytechnics, and universities in supporting a machine tool economy. Machine tools, lathes, milling machines, grinders, presses, and modern CNC systems form the backbone of industrialization. They are rightly called the mother machines, because they create the tools that build every other sector of the economy, from automotive to agriculture, energy to electronics. For Africa and other developing regions, the creation of a sustainable machine tool industry could unlock industrial independence, reduce reliance on imports, and generate skilled employment. But such a transformation cannot occur without a solid human capital base. Vocational training centers, polytechnics, and universities all have distinct, complementary roles to play in shaping the technical ecosystem that sustains a machine tool economy. This article explores those roles in detail, and how collaboration between these institutions can provide Africa with the talent pipeline necessary to industrialize. 1. Why human capital matters in a machine tool economy. Machine tools are complex technologies that require engineers, machinists, technicians, and researchers at different levels of expertise. Unlike low-skill manufacturing, the machine tool sector demands precision, problem-solving, and adaptability. It is not enough to simply import machines. Countries need local talent to design, manufacture, repair, and upgrade them. Vocational centers produce practical operators and technicians who can run, maintain, and troubleshoot machines. Polytechnics train middle-level technologists who bridge practical work and engineering design. Universities focus on research, innovation, and advanced engineering to push machine tool development forward. Without this layered ecosystem, Africa risks becoming dependent on foreign expertise even if it acquires the hardware. 2. The role of vocational training centers. Vocational training centers are the foundation of a machine tool economy because they provide the hands-on workforce for daily production activities. Key contributions. Basic machining skills, training young people to operate lathes, milling machines, grinders, and welding equipment. Maintenance and repair, ensuring that existing machine tools do not lie idle due to breakdowns. In many African factories, downtime is caused by lack of skilled technicians rather than lack of spare parts. Entry-level workforce, preparing thousands of young people with employable skills within months or a year, unlike university programs that take longer. Entrepreneurship pathways, graduates can start small machine shops to serve local communities, repairing agricultural tools, vehicle parts, and construction equipment. Case example. Germany's dual education system, where apprentices split time between workshops and classrooms, demonstrates how vocational training can sustain a globally competitive manufacturing base. Africa can adapt this model, linking vocational centers directly to industrial clusters and machine tool workshops. 3. The role of polytechnics. Polytechnics occupy the middle ground between vocational centers and universities. They train technologists who combine practical skill with theoretical understanding, a crucial link in the machine tool chain. Key contributions. Design and prototyping. Polytechnics can teach students to design and build prototypes of machine tools, especially using modern CAD/CAM and 3D printing. Automation and CNC. As machine tools increasingly rely on digital control, polytechnics can focus on training students in CNC programming, robotics integration, and automation. Applied research. Unlike universities that often focus on theory, polytechnics can engage in applied problem solving, such as adapting imported machines to African conditions, dust, humidity, unstable power supply. Industrial linkages. Polytechnics can establish machine tool incubation labs where students work on real industry projects, building a bridge between classroom and factory. Example. India's network of polytechnics has been instrumental in supplying the country's small and medium-scale industries with skilled technologists. A similar approach in Africa could enable domestic machine tool SMEs to flourish. 4. The role of universities. Universities must drive the innovation frontier of machine tools, ensuring Africa does not remain a follower but becomes a creator of advanced technology. Key contributions. Research and development. R&D universities can develop indigenous machine tool designs, materials science innovations, and digital manufacturing solutions. Faculty-industry partnerships. Engineering faculties can work with industries to solve specific technical challenges, for example, designing low-cost CNC machines suited for Africa's small enterprises. Knowledge transfer. Universities can serve as hubs for patents, technical publications, and spin-off companies in precision engineering. Training the trainers. Universities supply the lecturers, researchers, and advanced engineers who will populate vocational centers and polytechnics. Cross-disciplinary innovation. Machine tools are no longer purely mechanical, they integrate electronics, software, and AI. Universities are best placed to train engineers who combine mechatronics, computer science, and materials engineering. Example: China's rapid rise in the machine tool industry was supported by heavy investment in technical universities. Institutions like Tsinghua University and Shanghai Jiaotong University not only educated engineers but also became centers of industrial innovation. 5. Collaboration between institutions. For Africa to build a robust machine tool economy, these three institutions must work in synergy. Vocational centers should supply operators and feed talented graduates into polytechnics. Polytechnics should provide technologists who can design and improve machines, and channel advanced learners to universities. Universities should conduct high-level research and feed innovations back into the vocational and polytechnic systems through curriculum updates and industrial partnerships. This pipeline creates a continuous loop of knowledge and skill development, ensuring that machine tool industries have the necessary workforce at every level. 6. Policy and industry support. Governments and industries must also play enabling roles. Curriculum reform. Education systems should align with industrial needs, not just theory. Industry partnerships. Factories should offer internships, apprenticeships, and research collaborations. Investment in equipment. Training institutions need up-to-date machines, including modern CNCs, not outdated equipment from the 1970s. Regional centers of excellence. Africa can pool resources by creating continental hubs for machine tool education and R&D, reducing duplication and maximizing scale. 7. Conclusion. No machine tool economy can survive without skilled people. Machines may be imported, but without trained operators, technologists, and engineers, they quickly become obsolete or underutilized. Vocational training centers, polytechnics, and universities must therefore be seen not as isolated silos, but as interconnected pillars of Africa's industrial future. By cultivating a layered ecosystem of skills from the hands-on machinist to the research-driven engineer, African nations can lay the foundation for true industrial sovereignty. The machine tool industry will not only build machines but also build people, a generation of young Africans equipped to shape their continent's destiny. Why are machine tools considered the mother industry for industrialization, and what does this mean for Africa and other developing economies? Machine tools, the mother industry of industrialization, and what it means for Africa and developing economies. When economists, engineers, and policymakers speak of machine tools as the mother industry, they refer to the pivotal role these tools play in building every other industry. Just as mothers give birth to life, machine tools give birth to manufacturing. They are the foundation upon which industrial capacity rests, and without them, no nation can claim full industrial independence. For Africa and other developing economies striving for sustainable growth, this understanding is critical. What are machine tools? Machine tools are mechanical devices used to cut, shape, drill, grind, or otherwise process metal and other hard materials into components. Examples include lathes, milling machines, grinders, presses, and CNC, computer numerical control, machines. These tools are essential for producing the parts that go into cars, airplanes, energy systems, agricultural machinery, medical equipment, electronics, and more. In essence, machine tools build the machines that build everything else. Without them, industrialization cannot advance beyond an assembly level. A nation that imports its machine tools is dependent on others for its manufacturing backbone. A nation that produces its own can set its own industrial destiny. Why are machine tools called the mother industry? Foundation of all manufacturing. Every modern industry, automotive, aerospace, defense, electronics, textiles, agriculture, energy, requires components made with machine tools. If a country lacks them, it lacks the ability to make its own machines and equipment. Multiplier effect. Investments in machine tools have a ripple effect. When a nation builds machine tools domestically, it enables other industries, transport, energy, healthcare, construction, to flourish. It multiplies capabilities across the economy. Technology driver. Machine tools embody the latest in mechanical engineering, precision, materials science, and increasingly, digital automation. Mastery of this industry means mastery of advanced technology. Industrial sovereignty. Countries without domestic machine tool production must import them. This dependence often comes with high costs, currency drains, and vulnerability to geopolitical disruptions. Having a domestic machine tool sector provides a form of economic sovereignty. This is why nations like Japan, Germany, the United States, and more recently China and South Korea, invested heavily in their machine tool industries early in their development. Their industrial dominance today can be traced directly to these investments. What this means for Africa and developing economies. Africa, despite its vast natural resources and young workforce, remains largely dependent on imports for machinery and technology. Most African economies are resource exporters and finished goods importers. The absence of a strong machine tool sector is one of the reasons why industrialization has lagged behind. Here are the implications. 1. Dependency on foreign manufacturing. Africa's industries often rely on imported machines and spare parts. When a factory's machines break down, replacement parts usually must be shipped from Europe, Asia, or America, causing delays, high costs, and downtime. This dependence weakens competitiveness. 2. Limits on value addition. African economies often export raw materials, cocoa, copper, crude oil, iron ore, instead of processed goods. One reason is the lack of machine tools to establish processing and manufacturing industries locally. Without them, Africa cannot easily move up the value chain. 3. Skills and technology gap. Without domestic machine tool industries, Africa misses out on the high-skill training that comes with operating, designing, and innovating in this sector. Skilled machinists, toolmakers, and mechanical engineers remain scarce, further limiting industrial capacity. 4. Loss of sovereignty in industrial policy. A country that cannot make its own machines cannot independently shape its industrial strategy. Its economic future remains tied to external suppliers. For Africa, this perpetuates a cycle of dependency. Opportunities for Africa and developing economies. Recognizing machine tools as the mother industry opens pathways for Africa to shift from being a consumer of technology to a producer. 1. Establishing regional machine tool hubs. Not every African country can build a full-scale machine tool industry immediately. But regional hubs, for example, South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Kenya, or Ethiopia, could specialize in building specific types of machine tools. These hubs could supply surrounding regions, reducing dependence on imports. 2. Leveraging local resources. Africa already has raw materials: iron ore, steel, aluminum, rare earths that are essential for machine tool production. Instead of exporting these raw materials, they can be processed domestically to build the foundation of a machine tool industry. 3. Training and skills development. Technical and vocational training institutes must prioritize machine tool design, machining, and precision engineering. Partnerships with universities, research centers, and foreign manufacturers can fast-track the transfer of knowledge. For industrial clusters and supply chains, a machine tool industry cannot stand alone. It thrives when linked with automotive, aerospace, agricultural, construction, and energy industries. African countries could develop industrial clusters that integrate machine tools with local manufacturing supply chains. 5. Leapfrogging with technology. The world of machine tools has evolved from manual machines to CNC systems and now towards smart factories with AI, robotics, and 3D printing. Africa does not have to follow the slow historical path of Europe or Asia. It can leapfrog into modern digital manufacturing with targeted investments. 6. Attracting strategic partnerships. Developing economies can attract partnerships with countries that are strong in machine tool technology but also seek markets and resource access. For example, joint ventures with Asian and European firms could help Africa build its domestic industry while creating local jobs. Case studies and lessons. China. In the 1980s, China recognized its dependence on foreign machine tools. It invested heavily in both state-owned and private companies, often with technology transfer from Japan and Germany. Today, China is the world's largest producer and consumer of machine tools. Germany and Japan, their dominance in precision machine tools underpins their global leadership in automotive and engineering industries. India, through its Make in India initiative, India has been strengthening its machine tool sector, particularly in Bengaluru, which has become a hub for CNC machines and robotics. These examples show that building machine tools industries is not optional for industrial growth, it is essential. The way forward. For Africa and developing economies, embracing machine tools as the mother industry means national industrial policies that prioritize local machine tool development. Public-private partnerships to fund R&D, factories, and training programs. Regional integration, where different countries specialize and trade machine tools across the continent. Investment in skills, with universities and vocational schools focused on mechanical engineering, mechatronics, and digital manufacturing. Long-term vision, understanding that building a machine tool industry is not about quick profits but about laying the foundation for generations of industrial growth. Conclusion. Machine tools are rightly called the mother industry because they give birth to every other industry. Without them, industrialization is incomplete. For Africa and other developing economies, this realization is not just academic, it is a blueprint for economic transformation. If Africa wants to move beyond exporting raw materials and importing finished goods, it must invest in the capacity to build its own machines. Only then can it truly claim industrial sovereignty, create millions of jobs, and chart an independent path of development. What role can machine tools play in building local industries such as automotive, construction, agriculture, and renewable energy? The role of machine tools in building local industries, automotive, construction, agriculture, and renewable energy. Industrialization is not simply about having factories, it is about the capacity to make, maintain, and innovate with the machines that sustain production. At the heart of this lies machine tools, often described as the mother industry, because they build the machines that build everything else. Without them, local industries remain dependent on imported equipment, spare parts, and technology. For Africa and other developing economies, investing in machine tools is the difference between being a resource-based economy and a truly industrialized one. Their role is especially critical in 4 sectors with high potential for economic transformation: automotive, construction, agriculture, and renewable energy. 1. Machine tools in the automotive industry. The automotive industry is one of the clearest examples of how machine tools form the backbone of modern manufacturing. Cars, buses, motorcycles, and trucks are made up of thousands of components: engines, gearboxes, brakes, suspension systems, and body frames. Every single one of these requires precision machining. Engines and drivetrains, cylinder blocks, crankshafts, pistons, and valves are machined using lathes, milling machines, and grinders. Body and chassis, presses and cutting tools shape steel and aluminum sheets into vehicle frames and panels. Safety systems, brake discs, steering components, and suspension arms rely on precision machining to ensure safety standards. For Africa, where the automotive sector is still emerging, machine tools offer several advantages. Local parts production: instead of importing almost all vehicle parts, African countries could produce them locally, lowering costs and boosting supply chain resilience. Aftermarket support: machine tools enable local workshops to make spare parts and carry out repairs without relying entirely on imports, keeping vehicles on the road. Regional assembly to manufacturing shift: today, much of Africa's automotive activity is assembly of foreign kits. With machine tools, countries can graduate from assembly to full-scale manufacturing. South Africa's auto sector shows how this can work. By investing in machining and tooling capacity, it has become a hub for both local production and exports of auto components. Extending such capacity to Nigeria, Kenya, or Egypt could transform regional economies. 2. Machine tools in the construction industry. Construction is a driver of infrastructure growth: roads, bridges, housing, and industrial facilities. But construction equipment itself, excavators, cranes, cement mixers, bulldozers, and prefabricated materials cannot exist without machine tools. Heavy equipment manufacturing, gears, hydraulic parts, and structural components for bulldozers or excavators are cut and shaped with machine tools. Steel and cement processing, rolling mills, cutting machines, and presses produce steel beams, rods, and cement processing equipment. Prefabricated materials, modular housing components, steel doors, and aluminum windows are made with machining and pressing equipment. For Africa, machine tools can transform construction in key ways. Local production of construction equipment: instead of importing excavators or cranes from Asia or Europe, African firms could manufacture key components locally. Cheaper housing and infrastructure: if local industries produce steel bars, beams, and prefabricated parts, construction becomes more affordable. Maintenance independence: local tool capacity means construction companies don't have to wait months for imported spare parts when equipment breaks down. The ripple effects would be immense. Affordable housing, stronger transport networks, and faster urbanization could all be achieved with a domestic base of machine tool-driven manufacturing. 3. Machine tools in agriculture. Agriculture remains the backbone of most African economies, employing over 60% of the workforce. Yet, the sector is often stuck in low productivity because of limited mechanization. Machine tools are essential for building the very equipment that can modernize farming. Tractors and implements, engines, gears, and plows require precision machining. Irrigation systems, pumps, valves, and piping components are machined with high accuracy. Food processing, milling machines, grinders, and cutters are used to process grains, cocoa, coffee, and nuts into higher value products. The benefits of machine tools in agriculture are clear. Affordable local equipment: many African farmers cannot afford imported tractors or harvesters. Locally produced, tool-driven equipment could lower costs and increase access. Post-harvest value addition: instead of exporting raw cocoa, cashews, or maize, Africa could use machine tools to build processing machines, keeping more value within the continent. Job creation in rural areas: local tool-driven workshops could supply farm equipment and spare parts, supporting rural economies and reducing urban migration. Consider Nigeria. Despite being Africa's largest cassava producer, most processing into flour and starch happens abroad. With machine tools, Nigeria could build processing machinery locally, generating jobs and capturing value chains. 4. Machine tools in renewable energy. As the world transitions to green energy, Africa has enormous potential in solar, wind, hydro, and biomass. However, renewable energy systems rely heavily on precision-machined components. Wind turbines, towers, blades, and especially gearboxes require advanced machining. Solar energy, frames, panels, and mounting systems rely on cutting and pressing machines. Hydropower, turbines, gates, and generators require highly precise machining. Biomass and biofuel, processing plants for waste-to-energy systems need grinders, pumps, and presses. The strategic role of machine tools here is twofold. Building renewable infrastructure locally, Africa could manufacture wind turbines, solar frames, and small hydro turbines domestically instead of importing entire systems. Reducing energy import costs, producing renewable equipment locally lowers costs, makes projects more sustainable, and fosters energy independence. Imagine Ethiopia producing its own hydro turbine components, or Kenya manufacturing its own solar panel mounts and frames. This would not only reduce reliance on imports but also build industries aligned with the future global energy economy. The cross-sectoral role of machine tools. What ties automotive, construction, agriculture, and renewable energy together is that all depend on machine tools for component production, engines, pumps, turbines, and gearboxes. Maintenance, replacement parts, modifications, and repairs. Innovation, designing new systems tailored to local needs. In each sector, machine tools provide the foundation for self-sufficiency. Without them, Africa will remain dependent on imported machines, perpetuating the cycle of exporting raw materials and importing finished goods. The way forward. For machine tools to play this role in building Africa's industries, several strategic steps are needed. Develop regional machine tool hubs, South Africa for automotive, Nigeria for agriculture, Egypt for construction, and Kenya for renewable energy. Invest in skills training. Technical institutes must focus on machining, CNC programming, and tool design. Leverage local resources. Use Africa's iron ore, bauxite, and rare earths to produce machine tool components. Public, private partnerships. Governments can incentivize local entrepreneurs and foreign joint ventures to set up tool-making industries. Technology leapfrogging. Africa can bypass outdated manual systems and adopt advanced CNC, robotics, and additive manufacturing to accelerate growth. Conclusion. Machine tools are not just another industrial sector, they are the sector that makes all others possible. For Africa, their role in building local industries like automotive, construction, agriculture, and renewable energy is indispensable. Without them, the continent will remain an importer of machinery and exporter of raw materials. With them, Africa can create jobs, capture more value, and achieve true industrial sovereignty. Industrial independence in these four key sectors is not possible without mastering the mother industry. Machine tools, therefore, must be placed at the center of Africa's development agenda.